is NFAC militant?
You would have to define militant. That's a loaded question.
As you define it, is NFAC militant?
If you are implying that we employ a military structure, we have a military structure. If you're implying that we are military minded, the majority of us are. But if you're implying that we are a sleeper cell type entity that's waiting to attack the government at a moment's notice, and we're always, as they say it back in the day, ready to stick it to the man, that is not us. We're not cut from that cloth. We realize that this should be a win-win situation, not a go out in a hail of bullets and lose everything in a place where we don't have the logistics, nor do we have the land, nor do we have the wealth, nor do we have the firepower to win a war that, just like Martin Luther King would say, the reason he was anti-violent was not because we should all get along. He was smart enough to figure out there was no way that a violent path would win. So if you're implying that we're militant in that we're waiting for our moment, we've had 5 opportunities where we could have fired the shot heard around the world and plunged us all into a civil war that would cost the lives of innocent men, women, and children and win nothing in the end. And we have not rung that bell yet. So to answer your question from that perspective, no, we're not militant.
And you touched on it, but so understand that I'm asking very pointed questions because these are the questions that our audience are going to be wondering in their mind as they're watching.
And I agree. I'm in total agreement with you. I haven't heard a question yet that I'm like, I can't believe he asked me this. No, so far you're asking the questions that you should, because if I was to stand there and give a speech without you asking me questions, these are the things, these would be my talking points, because I understand who your audience is. But I also understand that there are those who are, quote unquote, still socialized. As Tom Burrell says in his book, Brainwashed, that they have the mental chains on them that no matter what we say to them, the filter that it's going to come through is going to land in a place where no matter what we say, and I don't know if you're a married man, but sometimes no matter what you say, your wife is going to look at you and say, I heard it this way, and that's the way it's going to be, Eric. It's not going to change. So I'm very glad you're asking these questions, because these are the questions that should be asked.
Is NFAC violent?
NFAC has a 0 record of arrests. We have a 0 record of property destruction. We have a 0 record of anyone shooting anyone. We have not been, we have a 0 record of violence. And every city that has hosted us has walked away saying they were the most professional, well-mannered, organized organization we've ever seen, in spite of all the guns. We're not robots. We're not perfect. Things happen. But at the end of the day, we have not expressed any violence anywhere. So I don't know, who would say otherwise. We have not committed an act of violence as of yet.
The guns, are they a method of intimidation?
We don't have to intimidate anybody. Do you ask this question to your white militias? You see, they pull out guns to intimidate people. We pull out guns to defend ourselves, just in case. I've said this many times, and I'll say it to your viewers. No one has ever fired a shot at the NFAC. So the NFAC has never had a reason to use those guns. But rest assured, if I can be so candid, if anyone does, and I've said this in our briefings, we don't point our weapons at anyone. We don't threaten anyone. We don't start anything.